What is your go-to never-fail joke? A woman is sitting at her recently deceased husband's funeral. A man leans into her and asks, "Do you mind if I say a word?" "No, go right ahead," the woman replies. The man stands, clears his throat, says plethora, and sits back down. "Thanks," the woman says, "that means a lot." Why did the half-blind man fall into a well? He couldn't see that well. My dad asked me the other day, "Are you even listening to me?" Which is a really weird way to start a conversation if you ask me. How do you think the unthinkable, with an iceberg? Two men are on opposite sides of a river. The first man shouts to the second, "How do I get to the other side of the river?" The second man shouts back, "You are on the other side of the river." Mickey Mouse gets a call from his lawyer. The lawyer tells him, "Mickey, I'm sorry, but you can't divorce Minnie just because she's crazy." Mickey says, "I didn't say she was crazy, I said she was fucking goofy 60% of the time. It works every time." What's the most important part of a joke? Timing. What did the cannibal get when he was late for dinner? The cold shoulder. What do you get when you mix goat DNA and human DNA? Kicked out of the petting zoo. "I stand corrected," said the man in the orthopedic shoes. Why do scuba divers fall backwards out of the boat? Because if they fell forwards they'd still be in the boat. Four guys are hanging out. One of them says, "Hey, did you know 1 out of every 4 guys is gay?" Larry says, "I hope it's Chuck because he's really cute." You've heard of Murphy's Law, right? It says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong, but have you heard of Cole's Law? It's thinly sliced cabbage. I always start laughing halfway through the joke though, so usually the delivery isn't that good. When does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. How many flies does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just 2, but I have no idea how they got in there. A man on vacation with his family arrives at a hotel. As he's checking in, he says to the clerk, "I'm on vacation with my family. Please make sure the porn channel is disabled." The clerk replies in disgust, "It's just regular porn, you sick FK. Me, I have a knock-knock joke, but you have to start it." Them, "Okay, knock-knock." Me, "Who's there?" Awkward silence. The Buddha walks up to a hot dog stand and says, "Make me one with everything." I slept with a blind woman the other night. It went pretty well, mostly. Once the clothes came off she said to me, "You have the biggest DK I have ever laid my hands on." He said, "You're pulling my leg." There are 3 old ladies sitting on a park bench. A man in a trench coat walks by and flashes them. 2 of the old ladies have a stroke. The other one couldn't reach that far. A wife calls her husband and says, "Be careful driving home. Some complete moron is driving down the wrong side of the motorway." The husband replies, "Dere's not just one, dere's bloody hundreds of them." The Lord said unto John, "Come forth and receive eternal life." But alas, John came 5th, so he won the toaster. What's a pirate's favorite letter? They inevitably answer Earth and you reply, in a piratey voice, "No, me first love be the sea." People tell me I'm condescending. That means I talk down to people. What do you get when you cross a joke with a rhetorical question? What did Grandpa say before he kicked the bucket? "Wanna see how far I can kick this bucket?" A man is getting a checkup. "Doctor, you have to stop masturbating." Man: "Why?" "Doctor, because I'm trying to examine you." My dog is a rescue, which is a really self-righteous way of saying I bought a used dog. What's the difference between a lobster with breast implants and a dirty bus stop? One is a busty crustacean and the other is a crusty bus station. A Freudian slip is when you say one thing and FK your mother. So there were 2 whales at a bar. The first whale says to the second, "Make whale noises until everyone is a little uncomfortable." Then the second whale says back to the first, "Inhale sharply, go home Frank, you're drunk." 2 fish are in a tank. One turns to the other and says, "I don't know how to drive this thing." Never tell a pun to a kleptomaniac. They're always taking things literally. A bilingual one: a Hispanic man goes to a vending machine and puts in 40 cents. The machine displays dime on the screen. The man gets close to the machine and whispers, "Yo quiero Pepsi." How many Germans does it take to change a light bulb? 1. We are efficient and don't have humor. Why was the leper hockey game cancelled? There was a face-off in the corner. A guy is in a doctor's office. His doctor is there with him. "I have 2 pieces of bad news," the doctor says. "What are they?" "Well, the first piece of news is that you have cancer." "What's the second piece of news?" he asks. "Well, the second piece of bad news is that you have Alzheimer's." The man laughs and says, "Well, at least I don't have cancer." Little Johnny was walking through the park when a man said, "Hey kid, I'll give you a piece of candy if you come in my van." Johnny looked at him and said, "Shit mister, give me the whole bag and it'll come in your mouth." "I went to the doctor's recently," he said. "Don't eat anything fatty." I said, "What, like bacon and burgers. He said, no, fatty, don't eat anything. I arranged a threesome on the weekend. Had 2 no-shows, but I still had fun. 2 hobos were walking down the tracks. They encounter a mangy old dog sitting in the middle of the tracks, contorted into that weird position and licking his nuts. One hobo says wistfully, gee, I wish could do that. His companion replies, well, maybe you should start by petting him first. A man had been drinking at a bar all night and pukes down the front of his shirt. Shit, I can't go home like this, my wife will kill me. The bartender sees this and says, put a $20 bill in your pocket, and when she sees the puke, tell her some drunk puked on you and gave you $20 for dry cleaning. So the guy goes home and his wife sees the puke on his shirt and asks what happened. To which he replies, a drunk guy puked on me and he gave me $20 to pay for dry cleaning. To which his wife says, okay, well then why do you have $40 in your hand? Because he also shit in my pants. It's really stupid, but it's never failed to make people laugh. Mahatma Gandhi, as you know, walked barefoot most of the time, which produced an impressive set of calluses on his feet. He also ate very little, which made him rather frail, and with his odd diet, he suffered from bad breath. This made him a super calloused fragile mystic hexed by halitosis. A woman is walking home with her 3 daughters, Rose, Lily, and Cinderblock. Rose asks her mother, Mom, why did you name me Rose? To which her mother replies, well, sweetie, when we were coming home from the hospital with you, a rose fell on your head. Lily, curious now, asks her mother, Mom, why did you name me after a flower too? To which her mother replies, well, sweetie, when we were coming home from the hospital with you, a lily fell on your head. Cinderblock says to her mother, HGHGHDNBGEH, DNBGEH? To the person who stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word. A bear and a rabbit are taking a shit in the woods. After a while, the bear turns to the rabbit and says, do you ever have problems with shit getting stuck in your fur? The rabbit says, no. So the bear wipes his ass with the rabbit. Did you know diarrhea is genetic? Person, no? Yeah, it runs in your genes. Hey, do you remember, when you were a kid, and you used to blow bubbles? Yes? Well, Hess back in town and Hess looking for you. Went to a zoo the other day and the only animal there was a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. I think the Rainforest Cafe takes the whole rainforest theme too far. This one time I was sitting there eating my chicken tenders and they bulldozed 40% of the restaurant. When I was a teenager, my mother caught me, exploring myself. She told me to stop and that my dad would explain why. When my dad came up, he said, just ask Kurt, if you keep doing that you'll go blind. I said, Dad, I'm over here. Losing my virginity was a lot like my first football game. It hurt a lot, but at least my dad came. A cop pulls over a car with 2 priests. The cop makes his way up to the window and says, we're looking for 2 child molesters. The priests look at each other for a moment and turn back to the cop. We'll do it. Why did Sally fall off the swing? Because she had no arms. Knock knock. Who's there? Not Sally. What's red and bad for your teeth? A brick. A horse walks into a bar. The bartender asks, hey, do you want a beer? The horse thinks a moment, says I think not, and suddenly disappears. Now, admittedly, this joke only makes sense if you are familiar with the French Enlightenment philosopher René Descartes, who famously said, I think, therefore I am. The horse thought not, and therefore wasn't. But if I explained that first, it'd be putting Descartes before the horse. What do you get when you cross a mosquito with a mountain climber? Nothing. You can't cross a vector and a scalar. When asked by a feminist how I view lesbianism, apparently an HD was the wrong answer. Why do you never see hippos hiding in trees? Because they're very good at it. What's the difference between 2 DKS and a joke? Exclamation mark. Your mom can't take a joke. So 2 cows are talking in a field. The first cow says, hey man, you worried about this mad cow disease that is going around? The second cow says, I'm sure glad it doesn't affect us helicopters. What do you get when you cross a penis and a potato? Did you hear about that new movie Constipation? To which everyone answers, no, that's because it doesn't come out. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball? Choking noises. How many Mexicans does it take to change a light bulb? Just 1. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? A carrot. Before the invention of the train in 1804, people used to run wagons on your mom. What is the epitome of trust? 2 cannibals blowing each other. What's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? I wouldn't pay $40 to have a garbanzo bean on my face. What did the buffalo say when his son left him? Bison. Whole thing done in thick fake accents. A Russian, a Frenchman, and an Englishman are in an art museum admiring a painting of Adam and Eve in the Gardens of Eden. The Englishman takes a look at the painting and says, they look so calm. They must be British. The Frenchman responds, no no. They're naked, so beautiful, they must be French. The Russian says they have no food, no shelter, nothing but an apple to eat, and they are being told this is paradise. They're clearly Russian. Jokes are a lot like food, not everyone gets it. Did you hear about the farmer that won an award? He was outstanding in his field. Two nuns go driving between convents. They're driving through the country when a vampire jumps onto the hood. The passenger nun says, quick, show him your cross. The other nun says, get the FK off my car. Two peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. If you'd like to read the gospel according to Shrek, you need only turn to Somebody once told me that the world was gonna roll me. Last night I played poker with tarot cards. I got a full house and 4 people died. Stephen Wright. What's blue and isn't very heavy? Light blue. You're welcome. A man and his wife are running out of money. Now out of options, the wife decides to take up prostitution to get some money. The husband takes her to the corner of the street, and later comes back that night, picking up his wife. He turns to her and asks, how much did you make? She replies, $200. Oh 5. The husband double takes and says, who's the asshole who paid you 5 cents? And the wife says, all of them. Have you heard the one about the corduroy pillows? They're making headlines. What do you feed a gay horse? Hey Tilda. What's dark and rhymes with Snoop? Drive. Dre. Man walks into a fishmonger's with a large fish under his arm. Do you have any fish cakes? Yes. The fishmonger replies, points at fish, good, as it's his birthday tomorrow. What does the fish say after running into a wall? Damn.